All right. Well, yesterday I was not able to put a dent in Kirk Nelson, who did really well, got 6, and that meant we weren't able to do anything. I did get a 9-6, 4-4 win over Matt Frost, who did miss Ayatollah, the hardest one, and Giblet. I put a 2 there because there was nowhere else to put it, in my opinion, but we got there, so that's exciting. Looks like everything was pretty easy. El Chapo, even very easy because it's one of these names it's fun to remember. So I don't know. It's just for some reason a fun-sounding name. The good news is we're keeping pace at the top of our private rundle, but we'll see how that shakes out going forward. Anyway, today in our private rundle, we're playing against tomorrow's Jeopardy contestant, making his debut there tomorrow. It's just Bill Patchak, who is an awesome dude. Fun guy to be around. Also playing against someone else I know a little bit, which is Mitchell Hofing, in our regular rundle. So let's see how we can do today. All right. Question 1. The name of what leading American investment research and management company formed in 1984 with a focus on mutual funds comes from a line at the end of Henry David Thoreau's Walden, and not from a medieval fighting weapon, as might otherwise be suspected. Medieval fighting weapon. All right. Well, this is a question where being a librarian helps. You end up for academic libraries kind of purchasing a lot of these products. So there's Mergent and there's Standard and Poor's. It's not either of those. Morningstar. Morningstar is kind of a mace with spikes and is a company that rates mutual funds. The Morningstar rating is the star rating you get from mutual funds. So that sounds right to me. Let's go ahead and just put that up there. Morningstar. Not to be confused with Morningstar that makes veggie substitutes. But Morningstar. That does feel a little difficult for most people. I'm just going to auto 3 that right now for Bill, partially because Bill is a young fella and may not do a lot of investing on his own. Does not seem, like most people in their 20s, probably not that much up on the stock market or stock ratings and that kind of stuff. Maybe it's easier than I think because of the fighting weapon clue, but I just don't see that necessarily triggering for people. Okay. Charlotte Amalie, question 2. Charlotte Amalie of Hesse-Kassel, who reigned as queen consort of Denmark and Norway during the late 17th century, gave her name to a Danish West Indian island town that today serves as the capital city of what archipelagic territory? Okay, well, Charlotte Amalie is the capital of the U.S. Virgin Islands. And we got the U.S. Virgin Islands from Denmark, so that's a useful check there. We bought them during, I think, the interwar period, like between World War I and World War II. I know it was to protect them from because we didn't want Germany to build submarine bases there. There's the reason that we bought those. Anyway. Question 3. Good Vibrations, which sampled the 1980 Loliata Holloway hit Love Vibration, and Wild Side, sampling Lou Reed's Walk on the Wild Side, were hit hip-hop songs from 1991. Name either the group who recorded these songs, or its leader. Well, Good Vibrations is certainly the easier of the two, I think. I'm not going to sing it, but you'll definitely remember that refrain. It's such a good vibration. It's a sweet sensation, which is by Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. I guess I can just say Marky Mark here. Mark Wahlberg. Let's just say and the Funky Bunch. That's the answer for sure. Don't want to get dinged for not saying Mark Wahlberg instead of Marky Mark, because Marky Mark is only like just kind of his name in that group. So, yeah. Ever since Commission Egged football, I've gotten increasingly circumspect. Anyway, question 4. Kitty's hognose is the smallest species in physical size, whereas members of the Pteropus genus are the biggest of what type of mammal? The type is a taxonomic order, constitutes nearly a fourth of all mammalian species worldwide, the second most speciated after rodents. Rodentia. Pteropus. Ptero means wing, right? Pterodactyl wing finger. So that means these are bats. Kitty's hog-nosed bat, that sounds real. Lots of different species of bats, that sounds true. Probably more than there are species of, cows. What type of mammal? We should be able to get away with bat there. We shouldn't need to say, is it Chiroptera? Is that right? I can't remember the name of the order exactly. I think that might be right. But yeah, Pteropus, wings, bat. Sure. Yes, that sounds correct. All right. Name any school other than the University of Connecticut that has won a women's NCAA Division I basketball championship in the 21st century. Well, Connecticut's won a bunch of them. I do know that Tennessee was not finished winning in the 90s. Tennessee was obviously the best known program for most of the 90s, but I believe they got a couple in about 2007. Yeah, I'm definitely familiar with that. One good thing about being I'll reveal here. So people can hiss at me if they want to. I'm a Duke fan. My dad went there. I grew up rooting for Duke, and my parents have women's tickets all the time. They have season tickets. They go to Duke women's games all the time. And as a result, I end up hearing more about women's basketball than average for most people. So, yeah. Anyway, Tennessee, there is also just probably a good default guess that people will say, because if you can name 2 successful women's basketball programs, you can probably name Connecticut and Tennessee. So, but it is right. So, anyway, question 6. One of the finest extant illuminated manuscripts of the Gospels in Latin is among the antiquities of what ancient town in County Meath, Ireland? The book, quotes, takes its name from the town's namesake abbey, which was a bishopric see until the 13th century. Well, I'm glad it was the namesake abbey, because I don't know if I'd be scared if it didn't have the word namesake there. The book, in quotes, the only book I can think of that's a famous illuminated manuscript from the medieval period is the Book of Kells. So Kells certainly sounds like it's probably a town. The Book of Kells definitely a thing, and I believe that's an abbey. Certainly it was illuminated by monks, so that's what I'm going to go with. Book of Kells. Okay. Today's keeper, I suppose, it's not a national capital, but knowing that Charlotte-Amalie is the capital of the U.S. Virgin Islands will probably serve you well if you don't know that. I don't know how. I feel like people will know that, especially with this other information here, but, still something to keep up with. All right. Bill's got a fairly wide spectrum here. That 280 business econ makes me feel very good about putting the 3 there. I'm just going to put a 1 on Tennessee because I feel like name 2 women's basketball programs, you would say Tennessee. I think Book of Kells might be a little bit out of his range. It's the sort of I feel like it's a little bit hard, and so we'll go with that. I think he'll get bat. I feel like he'll get Marky Mark too, but it is a little before his time. Let's put a 1 there. The 0 on Charlotte-Amalie. I feel like that's something he'll know. So we have to decide where to actually put a 2. I guess we'll put it on the music that might predate him by a little bit. We'll get the 2 down there. Okay. Next to Mitchell Hofing. No math today. That's good news. Or theater. His biz econ's pretty good. I still want to put something on Morningstar. I don't want to zero it. His geography is good. I feel like fairly safe with the good American knowledge and the geography knowledge of putting a zero there, especially with additional clues beyond just its capital is called Charlotte Amalie. Pop music, 65%. Missable, right? A lot of people aren't going to remember Marky Mark as hip-hop. They're going to just kind of remember it as a, I don't know, they had popular songs, so maybe that'll play well for me. 2 there. Bad is science, animals, though. But again, I mean, it's like tarot. All you have to do is figure out that that's a thing. He's good at sports. We'll put a 1 on Tennessee. I think we might just defend this the exact same way. Although, world history, Book of Kells. I don't have a great sense of how hard the Book of Kells is. Maybe it's a little harder, and Morningstar has that very, very heavy pinning clue, the medieval fighting weapon thing. So if you consider Morningstar, you know to put it very suddenly. So I guess that's what we'll do. I feel happy that we have all of these because, you know, a couple of these are certainly the kind of thing that could trip you up a little bit. Notre Dame, yeah, that was a while back, early 2000s. Baylor, Maryland beat Duke in the final, remember that, and Texas A&M, yeah. So there's several options there, 5. And Book of Kells. All right. Well, that went well. That went well again. I still don't have a 4 or a 5, y'all. It's pretty funny. I've got a 2 and a 3 and some 6s, and I have no 4s or 5s. But anyway, I guess I'd rather have it this way. Anyway, have a great day. Bye-bye.